Daredevil has a new trainee and a new gang to fight against. Can the devil handle it? Welcome to the Complete Story series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. And then every day dramatically back to you, all alterations of the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Don't forget to support this great industry by purchasing these comics yourself online or at your local store. He is Matt Murdock, he is Daredevil, and he is not afraid. On the Manhattan Bridge in New York City, a group of 10 Fingers thugs watch a man as they strap cinder blocks to his feet and drop him into the river below. But behind them is Daredevil. He jumps off the bridge, landing in the water, and then he takes a look and he tries to listen for something, a heartbeat. But it's faint, and he can't pinpoint to where it is. Daredevil uses his hook to try and find the man, and that's when he hits a car, and he can finally see him. He quickly swims back up and he cuts the ropes, bringing the man to the surface. The man then tells him that they could just leave. No one would know that he was rescued. And Daredevil tells him, yeah, we could, but they'd never learn. Before jumping back up to the bridge. The thugs need to make sure that Billy drowned, and they're kind of curious if Daredevil drowned with him. When suddenly, crack! One of the thugs gets slammed in the face by one of Daredevil's batons. Daredevil begins fighting off the thugs, but that's when one of the men fires a gun at Daredevil, grazing him, and he asks Daredevil, "What'd you think? You could take us all on alone?" Actually, no. And that's when the man has his arm twisted around. All of the thugs begin to get hit, and they can't seem to see anything. Daredevil can see the person and look at him go, but the thugs have no idea where he's at. After all of the thugs are defeated, Daredevil asks the man what took him so long, and he tells Daredevil, I had to get batteries. My powers aren't free like yours. But Daredevil tells Blindspot that his aren't either. Before leaving, Daredevil tells Blindspot to meet up with him tomorrow for training at the usual spot, and then he zips off. Later in Foggy's apartment, Daredevil treats his wound from the gunshot. This is the only place that Daredevil could think to bring Billy for safety. Billy is the man that he just saved. And that's when Foggy asks him, would he actually be safe now? Even though everyone else doesn't remember Daredevil's name due to something that he arranged, Foggy does, and Foggy tells Daredevil that he will no longer be his safe haven. This is the last time that he helps him. Never again. The next day, Matt goes to work, sitting in his elevator shaft office. He notices someone coming. She's wearing heels and has a smell of oranges, so it must be Ellen King. Ellen King works as another paralegal with Matt, and she comes in to tell him that there's someone here to see him. The man is Billy Lee, the man that Daredevil rescued from the bridge. But he's a little unsure if he should testify, even though Daredevil kind of told him he should. And Matt tells him that he doesn't care what Billy thinks. Matt tells him that he's going to testify unless he wants all of the recent charges on Billy to fall directly on him with no defense. Billy can either testify against 10 Fingers or end up in jail, so if Matt was him, he would side with the guy that saved him from the bridge. Over in Chinatown, the thug from before tells one of 10 Fingers' men that he failed only because Daredevil showed up. The thug wants another chance. Let him give 10 Fingers 2 of his fingers. But one of the men there stops him, telling him that if 10 Finger wants them, he will ask. And another one of 10 Fingers' men then asks what's the next step. 10 Finger wanted to avoid something this public, but this should send the right message, so he orders Samuel to kill Billy, and kill the lawyer that's representing Billy as well. The next day, Matt sits with the rest of the legal team, telling them about 10 Fingers. 10 Fingers has been promising salvation, a place to keep immigrants safe. All he needs is just everything they own to do it. He's been taking the congressional funds to build a power base, taking over gangs, extorting, killing, and just basically a real criminal. But today that ends. Matt has a key witness that will bring this whole operation down. Just outside of the courthouse though, 10 Fingers assassins begin to gather. As Matt begins to talk further with Ellen about his plans, the assassins begin to sneak in. During the time that it takes for Matt to get downstairs, the assassins manage to get to Billy before him. So when Matt finally goes down to get his witness, Billy decided not to testify. He's been given a better offer. Over at the Church of Sheltering Hands, 10 Fingers thanks Samuel for the gift, but if he remembers correctly, the order was to kill Billy and the lawyer. Samuel tells him that it wasn't the right time. Killing them would draw attention right back to the church. 10 Fingers sees the logic behind it, but still, an order is an order. The Eights understand that, which is why 10 Fingers has given them a piece of his power. Samuel's mother asked for this opportunity for Samuel, but he has failed. And Samuel tells 10 Fingers that he will do better next time. Later that night, Daredevil and Blindspot train at their usual spot. As the two fight, Daredevil tells Blindspot that he needs to learn how to talk while fighting, but Blindspot tells him that his power is being invisible. Wouldn't that defeat the purpose? Daredevil then throws a spear right next to Blindspot, which is totally unfair. So unfair that Blindspot's going to tweet about it. As Blindspot continues, Daredevil jumps in to take the battery pack off his suit, exposing him. The two then begin to talk, and Blindspot is worried because Daredevil told him to let the lawyer do his thing, but things don't seem to be turning out the way they were supposed to be. Blindspot goes on to tell him that he is also an immigrant, so he knows the people in 10 Fingers cult, and 10 Fingers cult makes them do things that they normally wouldn't do. Ten Fingers is planning something, and Blind Spot is going to go now to stop him right this second, so Daredevil might as well come with him. The two of them make their way to Ten Fingers' church, but over there, Ten Fingers has already given one hand and None Fingers their power. Daredevil jumps down into the church and he tells them that they need to stop, but Ten Fingers tells him that he needs to leave. What he cares about is that Ten Fingers stole that power from someone. The people that he took it from will want to take the power back, but before Daredevil can finish his speech, arrows shoot out at the two of them that just received their power. Behind them is the organization The Hand. They want what was stolen back. The Hand then begins to surround everyone, including Daredevil and Ten Fingers. They are a supernaturally enhanced ninjutsu murder cult, here to take back the power that Ten Fingers stole from them. Daredevil tries to tell Ten Fingers to get everyone to safety, but Ten Fingers tells Daredevil that they are fine. He has foreseen it. Ten Fingers then tells the Eights to handle the problem, and Daredevil watches. He could just let the gangs fight it out, but this is Daredevil City, and he's not gonna let anyone die if he can stop it. At least Blind Spot is safe, keeping himself invisible, but while Daredevil is worrying about Blind Spot, he takes a kick to the face. The ninja then asks him why he is now a Ten Fingers, but Daredevil tells him that he's not. He just doesn't want to let them kill Ten Fingers. The ninja goes on to tell him that Ten Fingers was once a part of the Hand until he betrayed them. Now he's marked for death, and anyone helping him is also marked for death. Everyone continues fighting until a ninja grabs Daredevil, so Daredevil turns it around on the ninja, kneeing him in the face. But as the ninja begins to recover, he throws a smoke grenade to get away. Damn it, they're getting away. Wait, they're getting away, thank God, Daredevil thinks to himself. As everything begins to clear, Ten Fingers tells Daredevil, see, they have fled. Daredevil tries to tell everyone that they are now all targets, but Ten Fingers goes on to tell him to believe what he wants. He will forgive him. Later, Daredevil says hello to the invisible Blind Spot, and Blind Spot asks him if he'll ever tell him how he's able to see him while he's invisible. Daredevil tells him probably not. Blind Spot then goes on to ask who the Hand is, and Daredevil explains. He then tells Blind Spot that while he was in school, this is getting serious now, so Blind Spot has officially graduated. The next day, Matt sits in the office of his boss, getting punished for failing to get Billy to testify, but once Matt leaves, Ten Fingers is waiting for Mr. Murdoch. Later that night, Daredevil starts clearing out some of the thugs when someone asks him if everything's okay. The man below talking to Daredevil is Steve Rogers. This is after he lost his super soldier serum and stopped working as Captain America, allowing Sam Wilson to take over. But he does still help out some of his friends. Daredevil put in a call to Steve, but before they can get to what Daredevil wanted, Steve asks if Daredevil can help him out with something. Earlier, back at Matt's office, with Ten Fingers sitting there, he asked Matt if he was a man of faith. Matt tells him that he used to be, and Ten Fingers tells him that they used to be alike once, only focused on themselves. Long ago, he was with an evil organization, a cult that communed with demons in exchange for strange abilities. He used to do terrible things, but now he believes in redemption. So he stole as much power as he could from the evil organization, and he now goes on to save lives. He then goes on to quote the Bible and the Quran about how he sees himself as a savior to these people. So why are the holy books acceptable, but not Ten Fingers? Because you're not God. As Ten Fingers begins to leave, he tells Matt that he is a hero, a savior, and if he is a god, what would that make Matt? Back with the job that Daredevil is helping Steve Rogers with, he begins to think about those words that Ten Fingers said when they met up in Matt's office. Matt has always thought that he's using his powers to be Daredevil and do the acts of God, do what God wanted him to do. But that's what Ten Fingers thinks he's doing with his powers. And Ten Fingers is a monster, so what does that mean Daredevil is? Over at the church, Samuel wants to talk to his mother in private, one of the Eights, about everything that's happened, the Hand attacking the church, and that he's only here for his mother. She tells Samuel that she will protect him using the power that Ten Fingers gave her. He too could have it if he would have just killed Billy. But he asks her a very legit question. Since when is the church about killing people? She tells him it's always been about protecting their own, protecting the community. They have no one. They have Blind Spot, Samuel says. Blind Spot, he's no one. He works with Daredevil to take them to church. Hopefully, she will be the one to kill him, his mother says. Just then, Samuel asks her if she wants to fight Blind Spot because he's right here. Back at the job that Daredevil is helping Steve with, they finally wrap up and Steve decides to thank Daredevil for helping him out. And then he asks, what did Daredevil need? He's the one that called Steve. Daredevil tries to tell him about how he made everyone forget that he was Matt Murdock, but he couldn't bring himself to break that news to Steve. Over at the church, as Samuel tries to tell his mother that they could help people without 10 fingers, the Hand are starting their return. Below everything, something rises. It's something called the Fist, a half-dead beast infused with the evil energies of the Hand. As the Fist begins tearing through the people, Samuel's mom asks if she should get the rest of the Eights and kill it, but 10 Fingers tells her no. He has sealed the temple doors so that no one may leave. He wants everyone to watch. 10 Fingers prepares for the fight, and Blind Spot checks his phone, and then he jumps down to help the people. Over at the attorney's office, Matt begins to hear something. Daredevil, the church. Daredevil, the church. After hearing a woman mention it, he asks why she said that, and she tells Matt that she follows Blind Spot on Twitter, and he told his followers all to say that. Realizing what Blind Spot was trying to do, Matt knows that it's his cue to bring Daredevil out. Back at the church, 10 Fingers readies himself, telling the Fist that his fate has come calling. But all the Fist can respond with is thief. Ten Fingers opens fire on him, shooting his own followers in the process, and the Fist shields himself with the bodies and then throws them back at Ten Fingers, knocking him down. Before the Fist can attack, Ten Fingers begins giving parts of his powers to all of his followers, turning the Fist's attention onto them. And then as the Fist begins to swing at them, a hook is shot through the Fist's weapon. Daredevil calls out, telling everyone to run for it. He then jumps up, wrapping a cable around a beam, and he swings down to put a boot into the Fist's face. After knocking the Fist down, Ten Fingers begins to run past his 8. They ask him what happened, and Ten Fingers tells them to kill them. They ask who? The Fist or Daredevil? No, you idiot. The congregation. They saw my failure. Daredevil tries to bring attention to himself so that Blindspot can get the congregation out of the way. Everyone begins to run out of the room, and Blindspot tells them that they will be safe over here. One of the members asks. Ten Fingers said that he would save them. He lied, and Blindspot tells them that he knows that they will be safe because he was once one of them. He knows most of them, and he won't let anything happen to them. He hopes. Blindspot then turns around, and the 8 are there to kill the congregation. Blindspot tells them, even his own mother, that if they want to kill the congregation, they're going to have to go through him, and he will protect them. Daredevil continues to fight with the Fist, and Blindspot begins to fight with the 8s, all the while Ten Fingers trying to escape. He can start a new congregation. He is the chosen one. He's the savior. That is until he hears a voice. That's beautiful. You're beautiful. Ten Fingers calls out to it, telling them to wait, but there's always room for improvement. Daredevil remembers the lore behind the Fist. It can think, but it's not alive, so he won't feel bad when he retracts his cables that are wrapped around the Fist, killing it. Daredevil then begins to chase after Ten Fingers, but when he opens up the door, he can sense that something happened to him. Downstairs, the 8 begin to close in on Blindspot, and then they look down at their own chest, seeing that they have been stabbed through the backs. Blindspot then looks up to see his mother walking away after she did it. Why did you? He asks. But as she walks away, she tells him that she believes in him, and from now on, his own mother is dead. Outside, the police arrive to help the members of the church, and Daredevil and Blindspot watch. Blindspot asks Daredevil what happened to Ten Fingers, and he tells him that Ten Fingers is dead. The Hand have taken back what he stole. Blindspot then looks at Daredevil and asks, "Are we done?" Done? My friend, there is no such thing. This job doesn't end. And that is the end of Daredevil 1 through 5. If you want to continue the story yourself, go pick up Daredevil number 6. And if you want to chat about me about this comic or any other, follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian or on Instagram at Comicstorian. And don't forget to check out our gaming channel where we bring you gaming comic books every Friday at Eligible Monster.